What's up guys, hope everyone is doing well. In this video, I'm just going to be going over XYO, which I think is a pretty crucial update. Let's go ahead and get it started here. First thing is, those of you familiar with the recent times I went over XYO, we have our curvilinear bear market resistance, which then as XYO set the load approximately 1/3 of a penny back in October of last year. XYO then saw this spike up into the curvilinear resistance zone, was rejected at the upper bound, and then retraced essentially down to the lower bound, found support, broke back up, and then has reached the current wick high, local high of about a penny and a half. And so far has come back down roughly the same percentage as we did back here. This prior retracement was 46%. Second one was 56%, approximately 10% difference. If we look back here at this first retracement, you can see that the support was found with respect to the 50 EMA, and it also looks like we're doing something similar. We've already wicked down, XO has wicked down to this EMA so far, the 50 EMA, along with its band. And XYO could totally come down a little bit more, although when looking here at this Fibonacci channel, we can see that so far XYO has not closed below the channel. This recent weekly candle close right here was literally right on top of the lowermost bound 0 of this channel. So as long as this current candle can see an impulse to the upside, XYO will 100% respect this channel so far, although let's say XYO over the next week or so does see one more dip towards the downside and closes the candle somewhere more along the 50 EMA and also the upper bound of this curvilinear bear market resistance zone. I think that's totally plausible, and I don't think it would ultimately ruin the structure of this uptrend so far, breaking out of the bear market resistance, the curvilinear resistance. And according to horizontal evidence, so for example, looking at this orange box, going back to, we had support right here, then made this final top. XYO did approximately 8 cents. And then we can also see that XYO used this as also rejection right here, with this zone lining up at around approximately 2 to 3 pennies, which I've been mentioning for many months at this point as a notable area for XYO to push up into as the bull market does into. But on top of the horizontal evidence, we see again this channel is also, see each of these wicks towards the highs up here, just anywhere above the 786. Also validating that if we get an impulse in similar time to these prior to, we'd see it somewhere probably around mid to late June up towards the top of this channel, which is going to sit around 2.5 pennies or so, assuming that XYO does not break this channel towards the upside or go down even further back into this curvilinear zone, which I would then say might start to dampen the validity of this uptrend, this Fibonacci uptrend, and then actually swinging back up towards the 786 to 1. Outside of that, I do want to note how compressed the 50 EMA band is right here, showing that at some point in the near future, I believe definitely within the next, I mean not necessarily definitely, but I think quite likely within the next 2 to 4 weeks, maybe even within the next week or so, we could start to see XYO flip, start to print green candles and push back up to a penny, and then also back up to around a penny and a half, and continue further towards the upside, relieving this built up pressure towards the upside rather than to the downside. Outside of that, to zoom out a bit and to show the other fib channel that I want to show on here, with this first one clearly being a more shorter time frame, than this larger one being longer time frame. Again, in the last few updates for XYO, I don't remember exactly how long ago, but I took this, we see the structure here, this massive W that led into the prior bull market high for XYO. I just used the coin market chart. There's no trading view charts that have all the USD pair data, so I took the values and the times and just extrapolated it here onto this chart, so I don't have to go back and forth. And it also paints quite a nice picture. I have not gone over either of these Fibonacci channels before on this weekly chart in past videos on XYO. But after putting this on here, we can see how important this macro, this long-term Fibonacci, this uptrend channel has been. We can see that XYO bottomed out right here and then moved back up towards the 618, found rejection, moved back down towards the bottom, which this channel is drawn with respect to the high back here, which is going to be synonymous with this high right here, to this high right here, which is going to correlate to right here. And then this, obviously this on the bottom side, the lowermost bound, the one of the fib channel, lines up with the second bottom of this W, this double bottom. And one of the first things to note is how we can see underneath the 786 presents the best opportunities to buy leading into the bull market, just as we saw right here as well. And assuming XYO does see an impulse up here towards the upside soon, this will really mark the first instance where we see XYO leave this area, something similar to, it would be roughly akin to this area back here, the prior bull market. So going all the way back to December of 2022, this would have been the first point in time, according to the past history of this channel, to start to accumulate XYO at its lowest lows, just roughly within this rectangular structure right here, of having the best opportunity, the best time to buy XYO at its cheapest before it does break the bear market resistance, again shown by the curved linear zone. We also see the 382, which is just the flip side of the 618, corresponded with this intermediate high in the bull market, which is going to be synonymous with right here on this chart. And then shot up to the very top of the channel, further corresponding to, we see high back here, high right here. And we can see that the 78, well, the flip side of the 786, the 0.214, within this zone right here, towards the upper portion of the channel. This is when Bitcoin, or XYO rather, was topping out. It set a double top, and then we can see once it lost it right here in this area, that confirmed the bear market to then ensue. So far, at its lowest or highest low, XYO moved down around 97%. And so far from that same low, XYO is up approximately 490%. And then when it comes to the terms of the projection of the upcoming all-time high, within the last update, I was saying that I now lean more towards an approximately $1 to, well, 50 cents at, I think 50 cents is completely reasonable and, you know, end quote, inevitable at this point for XYO when it presents any use case and utilization. Although I think approximately, to be specific for the last updates, somewhere around approximately $1.10, perhaps maybe XYO will close there and then see some wicks up to at highest around $1.72, as I've shown up here to the top right of the chart, which this channel is also affirming and further validating that as well. As we can see, 7/8 or the 2.14 up to the top of the channel lines up with roughly with the time when I think it's going to top out, which then factors in Bitcoin as well. Typically the altcoins, especially XYO, topped out many. XYO set its all-time high, which is back here around 8 cents in November when Bitcoin was hitting 69K and setting its double top. So XYO lags multiple and various months behind, or at least so far is shown to be lagging multiple months behind Bitcoin. And at this point, I think, which I mentioned this on the community tab yesterday after I uploaded the most recent video, that with the last update I gave for Bitcoin, I believed we would see Bitcoin top out somewhere more around, let me find the chart, somewhere more around August 26th was the specific date I mentioned. I do have this bubble right here. I still think it's possible, but if Bitcoin is going to top out towards the end of August, especially if it's going to hit 230K or just around 200,000 to 230K at highest, then it's going to need, Bitcoin's going to need to move very rapidly from here on out. So I think at this point, which brings in this chart, which I haven't gone over yet, we see, just to explain this briefly, we see this support so far of this uptrend we've seen Bitcoin entered since around approximately 26,000 back in September of last year. We see the bounce. Will we get another bounce here? I think it's more likely than not to see a bounce here rather than continue to go lower, but it definitely could go down to that 50 to 54,000 range I've been mentioning. And then Bitcoin will see another spike up, maybe somewhere around approximately 113,000, anywhere from around approximately 100 to 130,000, I think. Come back down, potentially meet this same uptrend, bounce from here going towards at lowest 180K, at highest I said, I think most recently around 230K. And I think at this point, I mean, as I said, I still don't think Bitcoin, I still think Bitcoin is going to top out within this year rather than topping out first quarter or so of 2025. So this one, I think probably mid to late October, leading into November might be more likely, as I've drawn out here with this fractal patterns. Bitcoin will see anything above 200,000. If Bitcoin's going to go to just 180K, then that makes the August, last week of August scenario more likely as well. But that being said, for Bitcoin, as I was saying, looking here at this monthly chart, XYO topped out right here in this area as Bitcoin was hitting 69K. That's when XYO was topping out. And that same formation would occur sometime around March. So if I go back to this chart right here, such as we see, this would be synonymous to this area right here, which again, this factors in my phase cycle theory as well, and the specific phases and cycles that I've denoted in Bitcoin in past videos. And we'll see a retracement. We'll see, I think we'll see something similar to a double top, but in this case, we'll see Bitcoin, rather than for the second top, set a higher high, it's going to set a lower low, somewhere around like 180K or so within this rough range, and then come back down, which with my recent updates, it sits somewhere around March or April, which is right now where I'm thinking XYO is a little bit more likely to top out, again, due to the lagging. But I still do just have this broad bubble right here, beginning around like mid-November to, like I said, March and April, anywhere from 50 cents to $1.72 at highest. But as I said, that sweet spot somewhere maybe around approximately $1.10 as well. Even if we come down, we look here at these indicators. We look at the RSI. We can tell there's a hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. You see the price has a positive slope right here from this local low to the second local low. The RSI has a negative slope from this local low to this local low. Stock RSI, you can see, is doing the same thing. The MACD is also doing the same thing as it's coming back down to the 0 point, which is an important level to retest when it comes to this MACD having Bollinger Bands paired with it. If we look here at this RVI, which I think is going to be very important to note, we can see with this purple line, it has just reached all the way down. It went lower than it did when XYO was worth approximately a third of a penny, but now it's just a little bit below a penny. Which is quite telling, especially factoring in where Bitcoin is, looking at this curve linear resistance, and basically everything else I've gone over. If we go back to the last time we saw the RSI, or the RVI rather, do this, break back into the Bollinger Bands, this was right as we were leading into the most recent impulse. Going back to September 2023, we see the same thing as it led into this first impulse, which brought XYO back up into this resistance zone, bobbing, weaving in there, then finally breaking out above. And I think what we're seeing here is a retest of this. It could go a little bit lower. It could even go down a little bit back into the resistance zone. But overall, I do think this will act as support, and we'll see XYO continue to go higher, perhaps into this zone around 2 to 3 pennies, or maybe it will completely blow through it. It's totally possible as well. And if we go back to, for example, late December 2022, we see a similar occurrence where the RVI was very driven underwater down into this low region. I have the lower bound region, finally broke into the Bollinger Bands, and then we saw this impulse. Each of these impulses, this one was 247, this one was 187, 240, 222, and the rough average of this is around 210%. So let's just say we see an average. That would take the price up to somewhere around 2 pennies to let's just say 2 to 2.5 pennies, but still obviously falling within this range that I have been mentioning here. So overall, again, by no means is any of this meant to be financial advice, but I personally, given this is one of my more favorite altcoins to watch and to invest in, because I think it's highly valuable, not only because of what it can do and what it stands for in a real world use case sense, but also looking at the chart currently, it looks very primed to see support here soon and make its next move towards the upside and continue to go even higher. All in all, with obviously Bitcoin in the way that it looks, even Ethereum, and even the total crypto market value charts, which I'm not going to show in this video, but even factoring in all of that, and then specifically looking at this altcoin, it seems that there's a very good chance we'll see not only XYO, but also just a lot of other altcoins in general see a move up here towards the upside over the next month or so, and then best case scenario, entering into a full-on bull market and breaking all-time highs, previous all-time highs. But that was all that I wanted to go over in this video. So as always, hopefully you enjoyed. Once again, this is not meant to be financial advice, but all of that being said and everything gone over, I hope you all have a wonderful day. So I forgot to go over something, as I usually do, not necessarily usually, but far too often. So it's actually, let's see here, we'll have a bunch of fractal patterns that I added on here. Then also with this parabolic curve, oh, I'm missing one of the fractal patterns. Where is it? There it is. All right, so what we can see here is if XYO continues to follow, actually I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, never mind, I'll leave it. So if XYO continues to follow this parabolic curve, represented as a zone, we can see the all-time low right here. We saw this bounce right here, and then XYO has then recently come into this as well. We see a bounce up towards the 618, also lining up with the, as I mentioned, the horizontal zone of importance. Come back into the parabolic trend, continues to move up, come back into it and shoot up towards, hopefully somewhere above $1, whether or not it goes to $1.72 or just $1.10. Hopefully just at least $1 and higher. But this is really all that I had to add here at the end of the video, so I'll see you guys later. Ooh, I'm